Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. Well, we're in the beginning of January now. I hope you had a lovely festive period and have come into the new year all enthusiastic about what you're going to be doing in your gardens and your allotment plots. I know I am, and to that end I'm going to take you through some of the seeds that I will be sowing in the month of January. Now, a word of caution regarding sowing in January, and this really is the same for February as well. The majority of the things you're sowing, you're going to have to protect in some way, and quite a lot of the things you'll sow, you'll need to start off indoors. So before you jump on the bandwagon and start throwing seeds in willy-nilly, have a think about how you're going to germinate these seeds and how you're going to grow them on, including when you have to transplant them from initial seed trays into individual pots or cells or whatever. Because it's very, very easy, and I'm guilty of this as much as anyone, to start lots of things and think, right, fantastic, we'll give all these things a nice early start so we'll get an early harvest later on in the year, and then you find your house completely inundated with plants. So yeah, be careful. So there are some things actually that you really do want to start in January if you're going to be sowing them at all. Maybe February at a push, and there's other things that you can make an informed decision on. But let me show you what I'm going to be sowing this month. So this month I am going to be sowing both edibles and flowers. So let me show you first of all where the edibles are concerned. Just three things actually. I'm going to be starting off a cauliflower, and this cauliflower is called Skipper, and I will sow the seeds into a seed tray, much like this one here, and I'll sow into either sieved general purpose compost or seed compost that has vermiculite mixed through it. The vermiculite just lightens up the growing medium, aerates it, makes sure it doesn't get waterlogged. So vermiculite is your friend, I think, where sowing seeds is concerned. And quite often I'll use vermiculite to top off the seeds once they're actually planted into the soil. I'll start this off indoors, of course. So yeah, Skipper, cauliflower. Then I'm going to start a tomato this month. Now, I've got a number of tomatoes that I'm going to be growing this year, but I'm not sowing them all in January. I'm going to try and stagger it a little bit just to help me with the space that I have indoors. So good old Shirley, I'm going to start off in January, and again in a seed tray, and we'll be on heat, and then we'll be under lights once they germinate. And a single pepper, a sweet pepper that I'm going to sow this month. I'm going to sow Californian Wonder. I've actually got a number of peppers, just like the tomatoes, I've got a number of peppers I'm going to grow this year. And I'm starting off Californian Wonder this month, and then in February I'm going to start off the rest of my sweet peppers. I don't think I'm going to be growing any chilies. I don't really use chilies. If I happen upon a packet of chilies at some point, I may pop some chilies in January, maybe in February. But I'm not really bothered with chili peppers, to be fair. I know that it's a big thing for a lot of folk, but sweet peppers, on the other hand, I'm going to grow a variety of sweet peppers. So that's all the edibles that I'm going to be sowing in the month of January. But I am going to also be putting in a number of flowers. And the first flower that I'm going to be sowing is the good old sweet pea. I love sweet peas. I couldn't imagine a garden without sweet peas in the summer. And I have a variety of sweet peas that I am going to be sowing. Sometimes I sow sweet peas in the autumn, but I haven't done that this year and overwintered them. I'm going to start some now in January, and I've actually got a variety of others that I'm going to be starting in February. I don't think I'm going to wait until March for the rest, but I think, yeah, over January and February I'm going to be sowing my sweet peas. There's 3 varieties that I'm going to be popping in January. The first is called Mumsy, a really vibrant pink sweet pea. The next one is called High Scent, and it's a white sweet pea. And the last one is actually my own seeds. So these are seeds that I collected from the sweet peas that I grew last year. Now these are going to be sown in deep cell trays. Sweet peas love a lot of space for their roots. So yeah, I'll be putting these into deep cell trays. I am going to start these ones in the house. They don't need heat. I'll just pop them somewhere warm in the house and let them germinate at their own speed. I'll do a separate video actually on me sowing my sweet peas, because there's a variety of things that you can do with sweet peas. You can either just throw them in and sow them as normal, but there's a variety of other things that you might consider when you're sowing your sweet peas to give them a better start. So sweet peas I'm going to be sowing in January. What other flowers? Well, I'm going to be starting off some violas. I've got 2 varieties here, Viola Apricot and Viola Henry. Apricot is apricot, as you can imagine, and Henry is a purple viola. And these will go on to heat. They're tiny, tiny seeds, so they'll go on to heat and we'll get them germinated, and then they'll go under lights to grow on. Also, I'm going to be sowing Saxifraga Purple Robe. So this again will go into heat, and it will be grown on indoors for a while before it goes outdoors. So this is a succulent. And then we have some perennials. So I've got 3 perennials here that I'm going to be growing, and these require cold stratification, which is just a fancy term for they need to be experience cold before they'll germinate, just as they would if they were outside doing their own thing. So the 3 things that I'm talking about here are a lily. It's a Turk's cap lily, and then we've got marsh marigolds. Marsh marigolds I absolutely adore, and I'm actually going to be creating a pond this year, so these marsh marigolds will ultimately end up in the periphery of the pond. And then eupatorium, and it has sort of purple flowers at the end of long stems. So these are going to go, they're going to get sown, and then they're going to go to the outside grow house. And they're going to stay in that grow house until they eventually germinate, hopefully. So they'll be experiencing the cold over January and February. Then hopefully come March, April time, they will germinate. And I'll let them grow on, and then I'll transplant them into pots and eventually get them out into the garden. Another flower that I'm going to be sowing and putting outside are these. These are Astrantia. And this is Astrantia rose, a lovely pink Astrantia. And this again prefers to have some cold before it will germinate. Now I could put this into the fridge for a couple of weeks just to give it that dose of cold, but it's going to be freezing outside. So I'm going to sow this, and I'm going to pop it into the grow house, and I'm going to leave it in the grow house for between 2 and 4 weeks. Then I'm going to bring it indoors and then try and get it germinated indoors. So that's Astrantia. Now, I've just looked down and I've noticed that I've got a couple of more packets of seeds, and actually these are edibles as well. These are microgreens, and I'm going to get these started and pop them on the windowsill. I've got a red kale microgreens, and then this is a mix of a variety of different seeds. Again, I'll grow them as microgreens. So what I'll be doing with these is popping them in pots, lightly covering them with some compost or vermiculite, and then just letting them grow on the windowsill. And then when they get to a sort of decent 3 or 4 inches, I'm going to trim them off, and you can use them in salads or to top soups or whatever. And I might actually grow a couple of extra pots that I can give into the quail. So that's the seeds that I'm going to be sowing in January. There's a variety of other things that you might consider sowing, but this is what I'm going to be sowing through the month of January, not necessarily all today, which is the 5th of January, I believe, but through the month of January I'll sow these things, and I'll keep you updated as to what's happening with them. There are some seeds though that I have already sown, and if you look at my previous video you will see that I sowed onions on Boxing Day, so the day after Christmas, historically a time for sowing onions, and I actually put in 3 varieties of onion. The first variety, called Fasto, lived up to its name. It germinated in about 5 days, and so I've now taken that. They were sitting on a heat pad, although really onions don't absolutely need heat to germinate, but I popped them on a heat pad just to get them started. And the Fasto, as I say, germinated in about 5 days. Now they are sitting on the windowsill in the kitchen, growing on, getting light and growing on, and I'll grow them up until they're a bit taller, and then I'll look at transplanting them into individual cells. The other 2 varieties, the first one is called Mammoth Red. It's just starting now, as I say, it's the 5th of January. It's just starting to germinate now. So that's about 10 days down. And the other one is Exhibition. Now, these Exhibition seeds are actually a couple of years old. They gave me great germination and fantastic onions last year, but we'll see if we can get them germinated this year. If they don't germinate, well, I tried, and I do have the other 2 varieties to grow on. I might pop another batch of seeds in February if the Exhibition don't germinate. So yeah, that's me from a seed sowing perspective in January. I'd love to hear what you're sowing in January, or are you just going to stand back and not sow anything until later on in the season? Let me know, pop some things in the comments below, that would be fantastic. But for now, I think I'll finish up, and I will maybe start sowing some of these seeds. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. And I will say bye-bye for now, but talk to you again very, very soon. Bye for now.